Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. As usual, it's me, Ivan, and today I'll be showing you the watch that Seiko released a couple of months ago to celebrate their 110th anniversary. This is the Seiko Save the Ocean with the reference number SPB333J1. It's a limited edition to 5,000 pieces and it features a really nice textured silver white dial. Guys, just for the record, I didn't buy this watch. I borrowed it from you-know-who, relojeriaesparta.com. And as always, if you're interested in buying it, contact them and they will do their best to adjust the price for you. Because €1,395 retail is an amount of money that at least I don't spend on a watch very often. Now, when it comes to the watch, the first thing I want to say, or complain, is the packaging. In my opinion, it's just not good enough. You see, this Seiko is a limited edition model, it costs a significant amount of money, and for it, I just expect better. You know what really blows my mind is that some of the less expensive Seikos come in better boxes, so I've got no idea what's happening here. Anyways, I don't want to spend too much time whining about it, as it won't change anything. So let's just say that it's a white box, in it you'll find your watch and a NATO strap, which I'll mention again in just a moment. Moving on to the watch itself, straight away it's really nice and it comes with a nice set of dimensions that I think will please most people. The case diameter is 41mm, the lug to lug is 46.9, while the thickness is only 12.3mm. Finally, we've got the lug width, which is 20mm, and on the supplied bracelet, it weighs 156 grams. As always, here you can see it on my 17cm or 6.7-inch wrist. It looks fantastic in my opinion, it's very sporty and it has a lot of wrist presence. Since I have this watch on loan, I haven't sized the bracelet, but it looks to me that wearing it will be a very comfortable experience. A quick word on the bracelet, guys. It's a 5-link design, which reminds me of the engineer-style bracelets, and overall it's quite decent. The finishing is very good, all the links are solid, including the end links, and they're all joined by pins and collars. Finally, the clasp is also good, it's milled, but it has only 2 micro adjustment points, and the diver's extension is unfortunately made of pressed metal. As I said earlier, with this watch you get a very nice NATO strap. And as a person who typically dislikes NATO straps, I'm really impressed with this one. It doesn't only look great, but it also feels great. And apparently Seiko has followed a traditional Japanese braiding technique called Seichu. You know, if Seiko starts selling these separately, I may actually buy one for my alpinist. We continue now with a closer look of the case. And as you can see, it's nicely brushed, the build quality is solid, and I like the cushion-shaped design, which by the way is based on the Seiko 6105-8000 from the 1968. Something interesting to point out here is that both the case and the bracelet are covered with Seiko's hard coating, making them a little bit more scratch resistant. Then thanks to the screw-down crown and case back, the watch is 200 meters water resistant. And finally, you wouldn't believe it, but this model comes with a very clear air-coated dome sapphire crystal. I know, right? I'll make sure I make some merit to the gods on my trip to Thailand next month. Next, let's talk about what is possibly the main reason why you're watching this video, and that of course is the dial. Guys, as I always say, Seiko makes some of the best dials, and if you get the chance to see this one in person, you'll probably agree with that statement. So this model is part of the Save the Ocean collection and the dial is inspired by the Arctic polar caps. However, to me, it looks awfully similar to the Grand Seiko White Birch. And this is actually a huge compliment for the SPB. I don't think it can be fully appreciated on camera, but this dial is gorgeous. It has a silverish white color, it's obviously textured, and it's executed flawlessly. On top of that, all the other elements here look great as well. The handset has been beautifully machined, and the blue painted second hand looks even better than the one on my SOA 023. Then between the 4 and 5 o'clock hour markers, you'll find the round date window, which surprisingly doesn't bother me at all. Of course I would have preferred it framed and positioned at 3 o'clock, but honestly I don't find it distracting or bad looking in any way. Finally guys, the handset and the indices have some very generous lume application that glows extremely bright in the dark, and it's also very long lasting. It looks like I forgot to mention the bezel, so let's check it out now. What we have here is a coin edge bezel which offers plenty of grip, and an aluminium bezel insert, which makes a lot of sense since this is a watch with a vintage inspired design. The action itself, it's good. It's the typical 120 clicks Seiko bezel action. It's a bit spongy, it has a bit of backplay, but it's smooth and easy to turn, and it lines up perfectly. Alright guys, the only thing that's left for discussion is the movement. This watch features the caliber 6R35, which I'm sure many of you are already familiar with, but for those who aren't, it's a 3 Hz movement with 24 joules and a generous power reserve of 70 hours. It's also slightly resistant to magnets. According to the spec sheet, the 6R35 can withstand 4800 amperes per meter or 60 Gauss, so in theory you're well protected against fridge magnets. Jokes aside, I like this movement, it's proving to be reliable and it has a decent accuracy of -15 to +25 seconds per day. So, all things considered, Seiko has done a really good job with this one. It's one of their best recent releases in my opinion. I like it even more than the Alpinist I reviewed a couple of weeks ago, and to be honest, I would love to own it. Unfortunately, my watch budget this year is very limited. As I mentioned earlier, this model goes for €1,400, which at a first glance seems like a lot, and it is a lot of money. But if you really like it, convincing yourself that it's worth it, it shouldn't be that difficult. All you need to do is stare at the dial for a moment and think that a Grand Seiko with a similar looking dial costs 6 times more. Alternatively, you may want to have a look at these 3 SPBs, which are similarly priced and feature the same beautiful textured dial. Or, if you don't care about the dial, the non-limited edition models are €350 cheaper. That's pretty much everything for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. In case you haven't heard, Seiko has released 3 new Sumo models. I'm trying to get my hands on all of them and review them here on the channel as soon as possible. The interesting thing about these is that they're not automatic, instead they feature a new GMT Solar quartz movement. So yeah, I'm looking forward to checking these out. And just to keep you posted, another video I'm working on right now, it should be ready in a week or so, is my 4 years Tudor Black Bay review. And finally, in March, my wife and I are going to Thailand. We'll be visiting some family, and hopefully I'll shoot some content there as well. I've already contacted a couple of places, and so far it looks like they'll meet me and show me a few cool watches. So guys, definitely keep an eye on the channel, and if you're new, consider subscribing. I don't post content as often as I would like to, but every once in a while I get access to some interesting watches. Once again, thank you for watching everyone, I appreciate it very much. This is the end of today's video, take care and I'll see you in the next one.